anchor on CNN, Breonna Taylor, attacked Fox News for the very different response that they had to the property crime against their holiday display and the incident on January 6th. Take a look at that.
That unites us, that brings us together. It's about the Christmas spirit. It is about the holiday season. It's about Jesus. It's about Hanukkah. It is about everything that we stand for as a country, freedom and being able to worship the way that you want to worship. It makes me so mad.
No one can burn down the spirit of Christmas or destroy our resilience. A new tree is on the way.
They look at the lights, and today there are no lights because somebody burned down our Christmas tree.
And I hope we put it back. I mean, I hope we put it back.
I hope we build it back bigger and better.
Why is burning Christmas trees not a hate crime, according to the DOJ?
So for someone to burn that down is just so disheartening and so sad.
It's going to mean something a little different because we lost our tree and we're going to have another tree.
We're going to build the tree. The tree will be back in no time. It is going to be beautiful and massive, and it is going to mean even more than it did before.
This is a serious incident. Obviously, it's incredibly scary to feel that your workplace is under attack, unless your workplace is the Capitol. Then, according to many, many Fox hosts, it's not such a big deal.
99% of them, 100%, 99% of them were peaceful.
You don't see people hiding bombs or using bayonets. You see people walking around and taking pictures. They don't look like terrorists, they look like tourists.
They were there to support the President of the United States and defend our republic and stand up and say, I just want a fair shake.
The insurrection at the US Capitol. It wasn't insurrection. It was a political protest that got completely out of control.
For best performance in an action role, the winner is Michael Fanone.
At Fox, when the target is a Christmas tree at their workplace, it is a sacrilege.
Exactly. Despite the fact that there were bombs planted, people brought guns and knives and shock prods and Molotov cocktails and all of that. You will never hear that on Fox News. It's inconvenient, so they just leave it out. But yeah, Sabrina, there was a little bit of a different response to those two different incidents.
Yeah, it was just a protest that got out of control. Just like the fire was just a little fire that got out of control on a tree. It's not even somebody's workplace. It's a tree, unless there's, I don't know, like a squirrel or a chipmunk living in that tree. And then I would be angry. And then I would be angry. And then PETA would be knocking down some doors. But no, yeah, it's always just going to be a matter of their own narrative. They're not as dumb as, some people would think they are. People who work over at Fox are actually kind of smart, but the thing is they know what they're doing. They know what they're broadcasting to people. And so they downplay events like, the Capitol riots on January 6th, and then they hype up Christmas tree arson.
Yeah. Well, they know their audience. They're clever enough to be manipulative. They know that they have an ignorant audience that they want to keep ignorant. They want to feed them what they want to hear and never expose them to things that would make them uncomfortable. Because if they do, those people will just go watch OAN or Newsmax or whatever. There's just a race to the bottom of never once making the viewer uncomfortable about anything. And that is why everything is. It flip-flops, it's wishy-washy, it's whatever it needs to be. I stupidly believe in actual standards. And so by the way, let me close this by saying, in terms of like when Tucker Carlson there was like, how is it not a hate crime according to the DOJ? Here, it could be. I believe burning down a Christmas tree could be a hate crime if you could demonstrate that it was motivated by hatred of Christianity or perhaps designed to terrorize Christians. If they found that homeless man had a manifesto or had ranted on Facebook about how I'm gonna stick it to those Christians, then yes, this would be a hate crime, but we need the actual evidence. Tucker Carlson is not interested in that. He's not interested in the evidence that goes into actual hate crimes. He doesn't care about what Dylan Roof said or did before he started murdering people. They're not interested in that at all, or what the Crumbleys have said politically or anything like that. So they're not interested when the evidence is there, and they're not interested in finding the evidence in cases like this. It's just too convenient to say it's a hate crime when it actually could be, but that has not yet been demonstrated. Any final thoughts, Sabrina?
No, I think it's interesting that the way that they even portrayed the person who, they think that lit the tree on fire, they portrayed him as just like a crazy person, when in fact, like, he is an unhoused person and maybe he does have, some mental issues going on, but that wasn't the focus about like helping the unhoused or helping people who have mental issues at all. It was about like this crazy person. So it seemed like they were trying to associate crazy, just kind of generic word, with, our enemy, the left, and they're lighting our tree on fire as if it's all one and the same. And I think that's really dangerous for them to put out. But also it just goes to show that if anything, there's even less intent of it to be a hate crime if they're going to try to paint in that way.
Yeah, you would think, but again, the audience is just like, yeah, sure. Like it was a totally random homeless person, and then also it's proof of a war on Christmas, and they're continually told to hate and fear unhoused people, but also to not believe that anything should ever be done to lower the number of them or give them access to care for their mental health or anything. I'm a stupid lefty, so I think when we identify problems, we should actually solve them. They just want to keep having the issue. I don't understand why. I understand why it's being pushed by Fox News, but I don't know why the viewers would be okay with this.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.